It's time for You Made Me Do This, the show where, or the segment, whatever, where you tell us something you want us to talk about, and we talk about whatever that is. And we had...
Yeah, please do this. I put out a post it's going to be probably around Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Unless we change the day of the show. But Monday or Tuesday, expect a post on Facebook at This Week in Our Collective Heads. Mm-hmm. I will say, hey, we would like a topic from you. It can be about video games, movies, TVs. You can branch a little bit more out in the nerd spectrum if you want to. We cover most things, but those are generally our three wheelhouses.
Yeah, I think no matter what you talk about, whatever you want us to talk about, we're going to be able to talk about it. And we'll look elsewhere, but that's really the place to get it. This week's topic came from someone who is a longtime friend of mine, Travis. Hey, Travis.
What up, Travis?
And Travis is... I'll be brief on this. Travis is one of my oldest high school friends that I'm still in contact with. He was my guitarist in my band forever. He's the best guitarist I've ever played with. And he and I used to play Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City and San Andreas. Like, I'd go over to his house and we would play that, and it was just amazing. So he fittingly asked, when are we going to get anything on Grand Theft Auto 6?
So, before I get to Grand Theft Auto 6, I wanted to present you with some interesting numbers about Grand Theft Auto 5. Do you remember when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out?
I want to... Hold on. I'm not looking.
You have to get the month right. Just trying this year.
2014?
That is when it came out on the current gen systems.
Oh,
good enough. It came out first on 360 and PS3 in 2013.
Holy crap!
And then came to PS4 and Xbone in November of 2014. I don't know if PC was included in that release date in there.
I was a year off. I was thinking 2015 for the re-releases, but wow.
So, 2013, the most profitable entertainment product of all time. As of April 2018, it has sold over 90 million units and has gotten $6 billion in revenue.
Billion with a B. That's a big uppercase B. That's amazing.
So, it's kind of a big deal. As far as GTA 6, though, we got Red Dead in October of 2018, which means that, generally speaking, the next, not logical, but the next most obvious thing that they would come out with would be GTA 6. They seem like they're kind of on like 5 or 6 year cycles of games. Yeah. And so does that mean that we're not going to get GTA 6 until 2025?
I'm not making a prediction here, but
okay.
But I will say I think we're going to hear something about it this year, very briefly. Towards the end of the year, maybe early next year is when we'll start hearing about it. It may not be a Bethesda style, hey, this is coming out. They could do that, though. I mean, they could wait a year and a half or 2 years from now and then just announce that at E3, or announce that in the middle of a Tuesday and say, hey, guess what? You got a month before Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, and we're all going to buy it. Everyone's going to buy it.
Yeah.
But
I disagree.
Okay.
But yes.
But
I don't think we're going to hear about it this year.
I think it's either going to be late this year or early next year. We're going to hear.
Okay.
We're working on it. We may get a title. Either it's 6 or it may not even be a 6. It may be a. One of the rumors that had come out was that it was going to be something set in Miami, if I'm not mistaken, and that you could go run drugs into South America, or the Grand Theft Auto version of South America. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a 6. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a Grand Theft Auto Sunshine State or whatever. We're not going to call it that because that's Florida, but like I would not surprise me if it was something like San Andreas. Vice City.
Okay.
Like they could do that, and they could take a game. They could make a full-on amazing game with the engine of 5 that has pretty much the controls of 5. Not saying reskinning, but make an entire world with that exact same engine and do a Bethesda, but do it right, and take what you did, make it better, and just, because 4 to 5 was a leap. 3 to 4 was a leap in technology. And I don't think that they need that for 6. They could do it, but they could also just say, here's Grand Theft Auto, whatever, and we're going to buy it.
Okay. I mean, I can see where you're coming from.
But you still don't think we're going to see it.
No, and I don't think it's going to be. I don't think we're getting any more unnumbered games like this from Rockstar. Not because it wouldn't necessarily be a good idea. I'm sure people would love it. I just don't think they care. They now make so much money. They have, again, whenever I said most profitable entertainment product of all time, that's not just video games.
Ever.
Entertainment
Everything.
product.
Yep.
Anything. They have as much money as they want. They don't need to waste their time doing something where it's like, well, we could just, reskin 5, change the map a little bit, and make it, Grand Theft Sunshine State. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying they're doing. I'm saying that they don't need to do it. I'm saying they want to go for the leaps. When you're looking at, if you even compare, honestly, GTA 5 to Red Dead 2, there's a significant visual difference there. There's a significant world size difference. There's every. I think the next GTA will definitely be 6. I don't think we're going to see it this year. They said in 2013, right after GTA 5 came out, because people can't help themselves, they asked about the future, and he said, well, I've got ideas. We have 30 years worth of ideas. It's just what idea works, what idea is right. Obviously he kept it very whatever. Then leap to 2018. They again can't help themselves. Red Dead 2 comes out and they say, well, what about GTA? And Hauser had this to say. I'm actually going to use this quote because I still find it very interesting. It's really unclear what we would even do with it, let alone how upset people would get with whatever we did. Both intense liberal progression and intense conservatism are both militant and very angry. It is scary, but it is also strange. Yet both of them seem occasionally to veer towards the absurd. It's hard to satirize for those reasons. Some of the stuff you see is straightforwardly beyond satire. It would be out of date within 2 minutes. Everything is changing so fast.
Ooh, that's fire right there. So true, though.
We know that there's zero chance that there is not at least some small team at Rockstar working on Grand Theft Auto. They've been working on it since. There's no way. Just like with Red Dead, how long it was in development, we know that we know they're working on it. It's the level of what they're going to do with it. And when he said this was the most interesting thing to me, because in the United States, he's absolutely right. He's not just called, he didn't take the easy pot shot and just said the right's crazy. He's like, oh yeah, the left, you crazy too.
Yeah, everything is getting more extreme. Every side is getting more extreme. Yeah, and it's making it hard to be a person.
And anybody who's played any of the GTA series, they know that it's extreme satire. It's the best satire. This is a guy I don't play any GTA online. I played it for 5 minutes. I play every single mainline GTA for the story because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think he makes a very interesting point that the world moves really fast now. So how do we make a GTA 6 story that feels like it's current? And to me, what that says is we're not going to go current. We're going to go back in time.
Yeah.
And this is what I think is going to happen. I'm thinking 1970s.
That's exactly what I was going to say. 90s would work, but I think 90s would be like, ooh, look how nostalgic we are. It would seem like an easy pot shot to put not saying that this is going to be like that, but the Captain Marvel movie with the blockbuster and all the 90s references of pagers and stuff, it's easy. But 70s, you can really feel like the disco.
Isn't it crazy that the 90s is already retro?
Yeah, it's weird. I was in a pet store the other day, and they were playing what was it? Smash Mouth on and it was oldies because it was over.
So,
yeah,
don't strike us, YouTube.
Yeah, it was. I realized it was over 20 years old at that point, and thinking about like
it's retro,
and it's retro.
We're retro, Patrick.
We're really retro because I'm thinking like, man, I grew up and the oldie stations were playing 60s and 70s music, and that was the early 90s. So
my first child's gonna be here soon, and I mean, I have a DVD collection. He's like, what is this? Like, no, I just press the OK button and stuff plays.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 6 years from now, 6 or 8 years from now, and the Minion's going to be like, what, you don't just think it and the TV plays what you want it to play?
So I think that to not date themselves, which it seems like he's afraid of doing, because obviously with a company like Rockstar and their products, you see, I mean, we're talking about some of the most quality games of our entire lifetime. I think that they go back in time. I think that instead of trying to be current, they say, hey, we can do something. There are periods of time, like you mentioned with the 90s. I think the 70s, I think the music, I think the sound. I'm just picturing the soundtrack that they would have on your radio stations. That would be the best.
I used to drive around in Vice City and just listen to the soundtrack. Those are some amazing songs. I mean, and as a music aficionado, like, there were even songs that I didn't know and that really rocked. It was a great collection. I think 70s would work really well with that. 90s would be good too. Don't get me wrong. I'm just thinking.
I love me some 90s.
I would love 90s. I'm gonna love either one of those. Do you think they'll go back to 80s? I don't think they will. I think
that would.
It's too derivative of Vice City at that point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they've done it.
Yeah.
And so no, that's the thing. The real thing that I wonder about Rockstar, I know that we're talking about GTA, but I wonder we don't need to talk too much about this, but where's the space for Bully 2 in there? I really think that that's a game that feels current. That feels like you. Wow. I feel like there's something to say about Bully 2. I wonder if that's the next game that we get as opposed to GTA 6, but I still doubt it because I feel like they would have done it already, but you never know.
They could do it. I don't think that I think it could work well. I think that if you did it the right way, it could work well in today's climate because of bullying. I think that's a general, like, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, it's like, you shouldn't be...
Because you get to introduce the cyber aspect to it, too.
Yeah, which is very... Man, I mean, growing up, like, I grew up, my first half of my childhood, I didn't have the internet. The last half of my childhood, I had the internet. So I remember not having the internet, and I remember first having the internet, and even then, like, my parents were like, hey, don't... I know it's cliche, but my parents were like, hey, don't tell people your name on the internet. Don't tell them where you're from. And now
ASL?
It's gone the complete opposite, where people post everything on the internet now, and you have a lack of privacy, which I get it as an adult. I'm like, I can choose if I want to post crazy stuff that I do. Yeah. If I don't, whatever it is, it's fine. I
have to actively think about I have to actively think about my child, like how many pictures am I going to take of this kid and put them on the internet?
Yeah, and when I have a friend of mine which this may be something you would think about, like when their child reached a certain age, basically they had a discussion with the child and said, okay, I'm not going to post a photo of you on the internet unless it is a photo that you want me to post, or if it's something you want me to post about you.
Consent.
It was all consent. It was great. They posted a thing saying, hey, by the way, this is why you're not seeing a bunch of pictures of my kid. So every single picture from then onward was via consent. And the kid, I want to say, was 7 or 8. But it's enough to understanding. Cute. It's cute, but it's enough to understand, like, the kid understands, like, okay, mom can take a picture of me. That's fine. But that picture is not going to be blasted everywhere. It's only if I A, like it, and B, want people to, whatever. She still will post that she's doing activities, but those are childhood pictures, which, she has other pictures, but
Yeah, there's a point to it where it's like, I still get to post about my life, kid, but I won't actively. I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to like post like the crying picture type thing, like, you know, where you see that from time to time where the kid's crying. It's like, do you think your kid really wants you to post them crying? Things like that pop into my head.
I think, but yeah, I think there's one.
That's what I really wonder about Rockstar is GTA 6 next, or is Bully next? Or is something completely different, Monty Python style, next? I think it's obvious that they're going to be working on GTA, but I think when you have a game that, again, the most profitable thing of all time in GTA 5, entertainment-wise, and that was as of April of last year, it took until October or November for it to fall out of the top 10. It had been in the top 10 for like 6 years. Yeah. It's nuts. I don't think that they're in a hurry to do it. They have so much money. They're still printing money out of it. And now I think that they're somewhere around 20 million units sold of RDR2.
Yep.
I don't think that they're in a hurry to do it. I don't think that you're going to see anything. I think that Red Dead 2 is the last Rockstar game you are going to see on this console generation.
That you and I are both in agreement on. I don't think it's going to come out on this console generation.
And if it does, it's going to be like Last of Us style, where it is the very last thing released, so that they can immediately it took them a year.
Just like
it was September to November, but where they're like, okay, this is the end, but we're gonna give it to you. Don't worry, it's gonna be on the new system.
It's so good. I mean, it still plays so well.
It holds up.
It really does. It really does. I'm not saying this is a prediction, but how would you feel? Do you think that we could be in a world where we don't see another Grand Theft Auto for 10 years?
I don't think it's that long.
You don't think it's that long? World of Warcraft.
I would say
World of Warcraft is still going. There is no World of Warcraft 2. And it's been...
Yeah, but that's because Blizzard has no ambition.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. And they feel like they would cannibalize their current user base, which I think that was a thing to say 7 or 8 years in. I think after 10, 10 was like, all right, we've had a great time. We love you guys. We're going to work on this. You can still play that, but...
I think that, MMOs don't die like that, and I think that even if 6 came out, until they shut the server down on 5, there's going to be people who have put so much time and invested so much into 5 that they're just not going to leave.
Sure.
And they'll probably also have 6, where no, I don't think it's going to be 10 years. I think I would let me think. So we had GTA 5. Mm-hmm. Come out. The last version of GTA 5 came out in 2014, and then Red Dead came out in 2019. So I'm gonna go that the next thing, no matter what it is, the next thing that we see from Red Dead, I'm going with like 2023.
Okay, I was gonna say 2022. So either way, it's gonna be a while. These games are not only
I just don't know how many teams they have.
Sure, not only are they epic in scope. Similar to Bethesda, those are two of the only companies that I can think of that do something this massive. And one of those companies, every single time, from day one, hits it out of the park. And you're
one of those companies.
And this is the guy that's wearing a Fallout shirt right now. I see that. But I'm sorry, I love Bethesda, but Bethesda games I really enjoy. They're never where they should be at launch. That's my nice way of saying it. I've experienced less bugs than some people, but I did experience some game-breaking bugs where I had to restart and reload an old save file to get further on for the first couple months of Fallout 4, and that is completely unnecessary. Months of understanding that your game may not work, so you may have to load another game. Who thinks about that in gaming? You shouldn't have to think about that. It's 2019.
And just in case anybody's thinking about it, I'm sure that in the back of your mind you're like, Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica, but again, we're not talking about linear games.
Yeah.
We're talking about giant open world extravaganza.
We could have said Nintendo.
Five ran fantastically on the Xbox 360. It did chug. Like in terms of the loading time, it took that thing quite a while to load, and that's because it was pushing the 360 and the PS3 to the limit. And then it even took a while to load on 4 and Xbox One, but once it loaded, you were in the game, baby. Like that, and it worked day one out of the box. It was fantastic. Played it it was great. There's even though there's things I can complain about with RDR2, the same thing. That game came out, and there was occasionally like some weird stuff because that game has so many functions. Like where I think there was one time where I came across like a lamp that was just floating there. It didn't hurt anything. It didn't do anything. There's not a single time where the game broke. For me,
Fallout 4 broke for me in one of the first things that you do, if you want to call it a mission, is you get power armor really early in the game. Like within 25 minutes of the game, you're in power armor.
I think I remember that, yeah.
And then there's a death claw that you have to gun down.
Yeah, that thing killed me.
So the death claw sank into the ground. And I don't mean partially, just no clipped infinitely into the ground, I would assume. But it didn't die. And you have to kill the death claw to continue. So I had to reload, and I had quite a few of those that happened in the first few months. That's game breaking. I never had that with Red Dead. I never had that with Breath of the Wild, because again, we're talking about, like, if you're trying to talk about linear games, then that one's open. So, but it's not as big of scale. It's an amazing game, but Nintendo's in there with quality games as well from launch. But Bethesda is not, and I really hope that changes. But at the same time, they're joking about how bad they are, so I don't think it will.
Cocky SOBs.
Todd Howard knows you're buying his stuff, though.
Cocky usually. SOBs, and that's where I have a lot of respect for what Rockstar does every single time. Even if you do not like Grand Theft Auto, even if you don't like Red Dead 2, you have to respect the level of polish that they put in the game, the level of care that they put into it, the fact that they are still, to this day in 2019, even though they put a lot of stuff in GTA 5 Online, they gave you a fantastic campaign. They gave you a fantastic campaign in RDR2. They still care about the single player experience. They do it well. They do it great. I just don't know when's the next time we're going to see them. With that, I don't care. Whenever you're ready, Rockstar, I'm ready.
Whenever it's ready. And I think you hit it on the head there. You're talking about the love of single player and proving, because Grand Theft Auto Online has made a lot of money, but they're making it out of whales. Let's be honest. They're making it out of whales when it comes to the money they've made online and with the raw purchases of the game. The sheer number of units sold. Obviously, online is part of it as well, but it's not an online-centric game, and their numbers of online players have not hit astronomical levels. The fact that they've sold more, but there aren't that many concurrent players, is not a bad thing in my opinion. That shows that people are enjoying that single-player content that much, that they had this much money brought in, but we're not hearing like, oh, it's the most concurrent games on any players. You're selling something that much, but that many people aren't playing online, means that the single player is that massive, which is the opposite of thinking of Call of Duty and Battlefield and all the other stuff that's going on right now. But it's proving that makes so much money when you put out quality, and I love it. I hope.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously they made a lot of their money from the online whales and everything. Sure. But even if we were to take online out of it, 90 million units, bro.
90 million.
There's 90 million copies of GTA 5. We're talking about a game that outsold the Wii U.
Yeah.
Currently the Switch, the Xbox One. Like, you're talking about a game that outsold several consoles combined.
Yeah. It is that big. It is that big. It is one of the games that when we look back at games 20, 30 years ago, there are a handful of games from those generations that we'll name. This is one of those games that's going to be named for 20 years from now, 30 years from now. It's that massive.
And if it's not, shame on the people naming those games.
They're posers. They're posers, and us as old men will shake our canes at them. Yes, we will.
I do very much appreciate who was it again that brought this one to us? It's Travis. Thank you so much, Travis, for participating in the second week of You Made Me Do This. Alex, I saw all your comments. I'm keeping them. Continue to give us more. We appreciate it. Again, every Tuesday or so, I'll put out a post on Facebook at This Week in Our Collective Heads, or a future name that we don't know yet, asking for your topics that you would like us to talk about and bring to the table. Please feel free to do that. I want this thing to be a community engagement. I want to talk about what you want me and Patrick to talk about. So please look out for those posts and give us more things.
And we will see you next time.